I am still so shaken by everything and I'm so sorry for my rambling. My husband, Jake, 25, and I, 25 female, have been married for 3 years, and from the beginning he was very close with his best friend's sister, Cindy, 18. My husband would often talk about her and tell me how he had seen her grow up throughout the years. Cindy is always very bubbly and seems very fond of Jake as well. When we were dating, she often asked to come along on our dates. I never really said anything as I liked spending time with her as well. She was like a little sister to me. When we announced our engagement, she asked my husband to better not forget her after being a married man and to still hang out with her. Well, we got married and I even made her my bridesmaid. Soon we moved to a different state and lost contact. Jake's best friend came to stay with us for some time and Cindy came along. The moment she saw us, the first thing she said was how hot my husband had gotten and she was glad he didn't look like those boring married men. Throughout their stay, Cindy ignored my presence and got way too close to Jake. I told Jake that it looked inappropriate and asked Cindy to tone it down, but he said that Cindy is just a bit childish and is that way with everybody. Well, on their last day, we decided to host a dinner party for everybody. I was with Jake during the party when Cindy came and told me, "Oh, I need to steal your husband for a while." Before I could say anything, she grabbed Jake's hand and took him to play games. I ignored it since it was their last day, but then, throughout the dinner, she was getting way too close to Jake and would just drag him away whenever I would be around while giggling at me. When everybody sat down for dinner, I sat beside Jake and Cindy came to the table last. She then said, "Oh, there's no seat," and then just went and sat on my husband's lap. Everybody was surprised and Jake said, laughing, "Cindy, stop acting like a kid, you're not a kid anymore." Cindy started laughing, saying it was a joke, and got up and sat on the other seat while giggling at me. Yeah, I was so angry with the disrespect and that Jake was so cool with it, but I didn't want to say anything bad, so I excused myself, took my car and went out. About 1 hour later, Jake called me asking where I was. I told him I was going to my friend's house and I would come after Cindy had left. I know what I did was terrible, but I was so angry at that time that if I'd stayed there any longer, I would have probably started fighting or crying. I came the next day and Cindy and her family had left. Jake was furious and said I took things too far. I started crying and told him how everything made me feel. He said it was horrible to think such things about Cindy and that she was like his sister. I told him that I wasn't doubting his intentions. Still, I was hurt by how disrespectful Cindy's behavior was and that he was enabling her by not saying anything. He said I sounded ridiculous and couldn't even take a joke, referring to the sitting on lap incident. I said, regardless, I don't want her in my house again. To top it off, Cindy sent a message saying that she was sorry about making me so insecure and that she would make sure to make me feel better. I shouldn't have left, as it was pretty childish and spoilt the mood. It felt so backhanded that I didn't reply to her. I just told my husband he needs to maintain a distance from Cindy. He asked if I was giving him an ultimatum, and I asked if he would go as far as disregarding and disrespecting my feelings for Cindy. This really rubbed my husband the wrong way. He said since I had such disgusting thoughts in my mind and was giving him an ultimatum anyway, then he might as well leave because he couldn't live with such an insecure person who had such disgusting thoughts about him. He packed a bag and went to his mother's place. I've tried apologizing numerous times, telling them how sorry I am for everything, but he's ignoring my texts and calls. Later, Cindy's brother texted me and called me a bunch of names to think like that about his sister, saying Jake should just leave me and that a disgusting person like me deserves to be alone. I couldn't stop crying after that. I don't know how to fix this. Is there a way to even come back? Was I so wrong to deserve this? I don't know anymore. Cindy sent a message saying she was sorry for making me so insecure. What a nasty piece of work she is. You are not the idiot. Your husband likes the attention, but he does not respect your feelings. She is a grown woman, not a child. She's not trying to sit on his lap like he's Santa Claus. She is clearly flirting, and there are zero boundaries between them. Does she sit on his lap when it's just the two of them too? Your feelings are not ridiculous. Your unsupportive and self-absorbed husband is ridiculous. This woman blaming you for being hurt over her antics with your life partner is ridiculous. Do not let them gaslight you. Even if there is no affair, there is the groundwork for one being made right before you. Yeah, a little sister who sits on his lap and thinks he's hot. That is weird and disrespectful. Her behavior is inappropriate. She's not just a little girl with a crush anymore, so she needs to be treated accordingly. OP was correct to leave. By leaving, she made everyone continually face the reason for it. They couldn't just blow by it and pretend it didn't happen when there was a clear absence from the table. Update number 1. Am I the idiot for leaving a dinner party after a girl sat on my husband's lap? Thank you all for responding. Now I know my feelings are valid and boundaries were crossed by Cindy. During the dinner there was Cindy, her brother Sean and his girlfriend, and their cousin Derek, also a good friend of my husband, with his boyfriend. So I called Derek and asked about the situation and what happened after I left. He was sympathetic and said that after I left, at first they thought I would come back after some time, however things were really awkward. When I didn't come, Sean's girlfriend told Cindy that she was so disrespectful for doing that. Derek and his boyfriend also said the same thing. Cindy started crying, saying they didn't have to corner her and attack her over a silly joke that she didn't know would get so out of hand. She then left the room while crying. Jake didn't know what to say and everybody left early the next day. Derek also said that Cindy has always had issues with boundaries, and when he introduced his boyfriend to everybody, Cindy would get too close and would joke that she was just checking if he was really gay. They were also really uncomfortable with it, so Derek confronted her. Cindy rolled her eyes and said they couldn't take a joke but eventually stopped. This all sounds so bizarre. I don't know what's going on with Cindy. Sean's girlfriend also texted me saying she was sorry for what happened. I told him how Sean's message was inappropriate, but she had no idea about the text, so I sent her a screenshot and asked her to tell Sean not to harass me again. She was very apologetic and said she would talk to him. Now my mother-in-law called and asked what was going on. Jake didn't tell her and only said we had an argument. I was hesitant to tell her, but eventually I told her everything. She was furious at my husband. She said they would be coming to have a talk. So yeah, I'm just waiting for them to arrive and really nervous. You are the idiot. So let's get this right. Cindy, a longtime friend of your husband, is acting inappropriately with your husband. He told her to quit acting chickadees and sit in a chair at another table. So you're upset, understandably, but then you leave, tell him you're not coming back until the guests are gone. Then you go home to a mad husband and give him an ultimatum. So now he's left, the whole friend group is in his ear saying and making up God knows what, and you snitched on him to his mommy? Wow. I guarantee Cindy has been calling and chatting with him, trying to move in on your man. My advice for now is to swallow your pride. Since he won't take your call, go to him. Please do whatever you need to repair the damage he feels has been done to the relationship. Once the two of you are in a good place, then have a calm, non-judgmental conversation about Cindy and how her actions make you uncomfortable. You must get your man back under your roof from a guy's perspective. Update number 2. Am I the idiot for leaving a dinner party after a girl sat on my husband's lap? My mother-in-law came with my husband and the talk happened. There were lots of things, but I will summarize them. Basically, Jake apologized to me first and tried to explain his point of view. He said he was angry because A. I left without saying anything for the whole night when he was literally trying to defuse the situation and tried to laugh it off because it was so awkward he didn't know what else to do. Still, I just left him in that weird situation instead of communicating. He was meeting his friends after such a long time and just wanted the dinner to be peaceful. Cindy was returning anyway and we would most likely never meet her again. B. He acknowledged that Cindy was indeed overstepping boundaries, but he didn't know how to bring it up since he'd literally seen her growing up and she was like a little sister to him. Also, she acts like that with everyone. He thought it was just for a few days and he wanted no drama during their stay, so he would just brush it off. He did acknowledge that he was wrong about not saying anything. C. He was already worried and sad because I just left without explanations. Even after I came, I didn't ask how he felt once. He was also very overwhelmed with everything and thought I was accusing him of not doing anything when he literally pushed her off as politely as possible when she tried to sit. He felt I was attacking his character and even gave him an ultimatum, which made him so sad that he felt I thought less of him. It wasn't about Cindy, but about how easy it was for me to question his sincerity. He said he planned to go low contact with her anyway after that dinner. D. He apologized for not speaking up about Cindy's disrespect toward me and for leaving like that. Then, after Jake said everything, my mother-in-law explained the situation from her perspective. She also scolded him a lot. In short, she told him that as a husband it was his responsibility to make me feel like I was his priority and that he disappointed me the moment I'd come to ask him about establishing boundaries. As a husband, it was his duty that I never would have to come to him about this in the first place. She also asked him how he would have felt had it been a guy on my lap, and he had no answer. She told him that what I did was an eruption of suppressed feelings, and that as a husband, it was his duty to go after me and never let me leave in the first place. She said many things, and Jake seemed to realise and sincerely apologise for his actions. She told him that he should not expect her to take him in if ever he pulled such a stunt again. Later, she took me for a walk. It was just the two of us, and she also explained some things to me. She said she was sorry for everything, but said that even at her house, Jake was distraught. He didn't tell her because he most likely knew he was wrong too, but was overwhelmed about everything as well. She said she in no way excused her son's behaviour, but would hope that I would forgive him. She also said that under no circumstances did I need to leave my house, as it was my house and my family's. She said I shouldn't be afraid to speak my mind if anything makes me uncomfortable, and to talk to her if Jake does something stupid again, and she will set him straight. She hoped we would work it out since she'd seen our love for each other, and it would be sad to see us split up due to some disrespectful brat. Her words. She said she couldn't have a say in our issues, but suggested that we should get counselling to understand each other better. She even bought ice cream for me. I know it's a bit childish, but she said sweet things work as a charm when people are upset, and, well, she was right. Well, it was an awkward night. Jake came to our room, but we didn't know what to say. After a while, we talked and both apologised to each other. However, I did say that I was angry at him for telling everything to Sean and was deeply hurt by the text he sent me. He said he didn't know what I was talking about, and I showed him the texts. He said he didn't tell Sean about our fight and only told him that he was at Mom's place. He called Sean, and well, it turns out Sean told Cindy and told her how she went too far at the party. Then Cindy made a huge sob story about how I was passive-aggressive with her the whole time, how I would always try to question her character and act insecure and jealous. She even went on to say that I was always like that with her, even when she was a kid, and that I never liked her and always tried to manipulate people into thinking I was an angel while she was a witch. Well, that made him angry to think about how I'd been treating Cindy, and he sent those texts. Jake and I were baffled by such accusations, and he tried to explain to Sean how it wasn't true, but then Jake just let it be and decided to go no contact with Cindy and low contact with Sean. Jake apologised again, and we just cuddled and slept. Well, Cindy is out of our lives for good now, and we've decided to go to counselling for better communication in the future. Let's see how everything goes in the future, but we are not getting divorced. He's like a brother to me, and his wife is turning him against me. Yes, I always sit on my brother's laps, don't you? So Cindy is confirmed to be a manipulative, trashy little wannabe homewrecker. I'm sure she'll try her little tricks on some other married man. It's like playing the slots. Eventually she'll hit a jackpot, unless she picks the wrong married man and gets her butt beat by the wife. That might be a learning experience, because I doubt she's learned anything here. Generally, it's a good update, except that it took a grown man having his mom yell at him to realise that it wasn't his wife's fault that she got mad about letting another woman pour all over him for days while he refused to set boundaries. He wanted to blame you for being upset and say something to him, and when nothing changed, he blamed you for walking out. If his mom weren't there, would he have taken any accountability? At all? He made himself out to be a victim of Cindy and you until his mom intervened. He prioritised everyone's feelings but yours. That's messed up. What did you apologise for? Now he's staying friends with the guy who went off on you and then said you were a cruel person picking on his little sister? Lose this friend. Counselling is good. Your husband growing up and respecting you and your marriage above others is a goal to work on. Oh, and I love your mother-in-law. She's the hero of the story. Glad it worked out. Screw Cindy. She knew what she was doing. Update number 3. Am I the idiot for leaving a dinner party after a girl sat on my husband's lap? I read people saying we should be no contact with Sean too, and I felt that it would be best to let that friendship go as well, so I talked to my husband about it and he agreed. So he sent a text to Sean stating we couldn't be friends with him and then blocked him as well. To clarify, I have somewhat forgiven Jake for his actions, but I told him he needs to rebuild the trust I had, so I know I can rely on him in situations like that. He agreed, and we will get the couples counselling as well. Thank you for all your advice. You all made me feel less lonely in all of this.